Welcome everyone.
Hi everyone.
I am Arianna Agostinetto.
I am Lucrezia Trifiletti.
And we are here attending the third and the second year of International Business Studies. We are here today to present you a powerful woman who is Senior Advisor of Linklaters,
Chair of Borsa Italiana,
Deputy Chair of Il Sole 24 Ore,
writer,
a former President of Valore D,
non-executive director at Stellantis. So a big applause to
Claudia Parzani.
I'm taking care. Thank you very much, ladies. You stay with me? You don't stay
as
with
you
me?
want.
I have questions for you, no?
Oh, dear. Okay.
So we have
This
a second.
stage is yours,
This
so
is mine.
yes,
Thank you very much.
a big applause.
Thank you. So I should start to say good afternoon, H Farm. Thank you very much for having me. It's amazing here, no? So I'm very impressed of the campus where you're studying. I had a lunch with some of you. I was extremely impressed. So I'm delighted to be here. And my idea is to share with you whatever you want. So I'm very happy to go through this amazing map that has been prepared kindly from Marco. And to tell you about me, to share a bit about my story. But I'm really, really keen to answer to your questions. Because my idea is that you are my future. And I would really like to give you as much as I can to make sure that the future will be brilliant for you and for me. So the idea is I give you a bit of insight of my story. I know that the amazing ladies here, they have questions. And I would really like to answer to your questions. Easy. Where I come from. I come from an area that is not very different from here, that is between Bergamo and Brescia, close to the Lago di Seo, so super tiny and small village where I grew up and where I was having the feeling that was not exactly the right place for me for having my kite that was flying high in the sky. And so I left quite soon. I moved to Milano, where I've done university, and I'm come from a family like many other families. So I'm the first person in my family that got a university degree, and the first one that studied law. So I studied law with the idea that lawyers, they were the right people to stay on the right side of the things. So right is one of my points, and you see that it's one of my legs here, the social impact line. And the second one was I was passionate about finance. So I was looking at law really where the law is ending and the finance world is starting. So exactly at that limit is where I started to work. I started to work, it's a bit big way to say, because in reality my first job, I was sharing with the young colleagues that they had lunch with me. My first job lasted one day, because in reality it was difficult to find something that was really fitting my dream. That is something that it's always a big problem that we have, no? We study a lot, we have an idea of ourselves, we have an idea about the future. Then you arrive there, you look at the things and you realize that they are not exactly what you're expecting. So I think that is very important to admit your errors as soon as possible, no? And with the idea of having the possibility to change your mind. So job one day. Job 2, 3 months. Not a big success as well. And then I found further job for a couple of years. But I was still not there because I was still in an environment that was a bit too linked to the traditional world of the lawyers. That was not exactly my cup of tea. And finally, the international law firms, they were coming in the country. And so I started to be what they call in Italian, avvocato d'affari. No? So it's a corporate lawyer for financial institution, enterprise. So my point is, I started from there my way to build up a new job. The job was not existing in some way. It was a job that was to create, and I was creating it while I was growing in these international law firms. In reality, the job was cool, but was not my perfect dream. So what I've done is I created, remember I was passionate of rights, so I create some space in my agenda. I always create a space, I free up time to make sure that I was able to have a social impact. So while I was doing deals, I was running a big transaction for listed companies, I was assisting big financial institutions doing their extraordinary transactions, I was starting to work to make sure to live a better world a day, to make sure that I was having my legacy, because this is my legacy, to live a better world, to make sure that people like you, the youngest, they could have and could find a better world. So I was creating that. That's the reason why you see a map here, like a tube station with different things. So I was growing up as a lawyer. On the other side, I was starting to look around myself what was needed, who was missing a voice at the relevant tables. And of course, the women, they were not present. It happened to me to be the only woman out of 180, 200 bankers, hedge funders, or whoever you want to in the financial world. So of course, looking around and finding yourself the only one, you realize that some talents is missed there. So women has been my first idea of inclusion. Then, while I was growing up as a lawyer, I was realizing that as a lawyer I was having other challenges that were very interesting for me, like management, but I will come back to you as soon. In the meantime, in my world of impacting, I was adding to the women the youngest. And that's the reason why I'm here. I know Riccardo don't know since many years. I've been super bad. I never came here. I promise today that I will always be back because it's amazing and it's an incredible place. So, life lawyer, life social impact. Let's keep the two one relevant. As a lawyer, in the years I've been in different law firms. I work in London, an international bank. I be back. So all things that apparently they were quite, let's say, in line. So they were creating what we call a linear career. Not exactly. In reality, I was in and out from international law firm. I set up an Italian law firms like a startup because I was too much entrepreneurial in some way, and I was really too much also keen to decide the people that I was choosing as a team, as a colleagues, as a partners, because people has been always my main driver, more maybe than business. And in the meantime, at the end, 2007, that is one of the milestones, I arrived in Linklaters. Linklaters is one of the called magic circles, so one of the 5 biggest English law firms. The legal world is divided by English and American law firms. And in 2007, they opened in Italy. I was there for them to open the capital market practice. That was my practice. In the meantime, my passion for many other things is growing. And I arrived in Linklaters with already 2 girls. I'm a mom of 3. 2 girls and almost pregnant. So first delivery in Linklaters is a 3rd girl, just to make sure that my life was intense enough. So in Linklaters, I ran for many years transaction and my business. And at some point, because I was extremely committed to live a better world for women, someone from central management in London called me and said, why don't you think to run for some management position in the firm? Because it will be extremely nice to see you that you are fighting also for women internally. It will be nice to see that women are taking positions. So they sent me a very long list of positions. The first one was, let's say, something that was close to opening the doors. And the last was head of Europe. I was an Italian partner, 9 European offices. So they gave me also kindly a coach for 10 sessions, say that you will have this coach, you can think about who do you want to be with the help of this coach. So I was already quite sure about my choice, but I took the opportunity to have a coach. We discussed, and then a few months later, when they called me, say, "What do you want to do?" Of course, the list was very long. They were expecting that I was picking up something in the middle, but my point went exactly to the last job. That was the biggest one, was head of Europe. The guys were very nice. Say, "Yes, very nice. Maybe next time. You are a bit young. Usually, head of Europe has been always a North European, has been a man at the end of his career, has been a corporate lawyer." So I was not fitting any box. No, I was young, South European, women, capital markets, finance. So completely wrong. In any case, I decided to run, and I arrived to a point in which I was the candidate. The guy that was my predecessor decided to run as well again. So the battle was not necessarily fun. It's for sure quite difficult for me. But when I arrived to the end of this battle, where I was winning almost, the big boss in London came and said that, "Claudia, we have a bit of problem because someone is saying that you are not good with numbers. And you know that this is the big region. We have 9 offices, big numbers. We have to make sure that you are good enough with numbers." And of course, I would say that the first reaction of a normal human being would be, "No, I'm good enough, I do my effort, I will do." And my answer has been, "You're right, I'm not good enough, because I'm not interested. I'm not interested to come here to run the numbers. I hope that you will give me a CFO, a CEO, whoever you want that is good enough. I will take responsibility for this person, he will be part of my team, but I will work on this job with culture. I will work on the culture of the firm to make sure that the numbers will come. Because you can run numbers, but if you just run numbers, culture will never arrive. If you work on the culture, on the right culture, then the numbers arrive." So it's been one of the first time that I learn, and it's here that I want to revive for you, the power of knowing in what you are extremely good. I'm good in culture. The reason why I'm passionate of rights and I fight for many things is because I want to work always in the side of the cultural changes, because I stay and I'm brave enough to stay on the side of the difficult things. I'm not super good in numbers. I'm not so bad, maybe, but I really don't want neither to lose my time on things that they are not making any difference. So for the first time, I learned that there is an extremely important power in knowing our talents. You should know your talents. You should really think about which talents I have and what I want to do in the future. Because I could have taken the job running the region and having also the responsibility of the numbers, say, "I'm not too bad, don't worry, I can take care." In reality, with my answer that was, "You will give me someone," has been super cool, because for 5 years that I ran this region, I never took care the numbers. There was always someone that was coming and say, no, don't ask her. There will be someone that is saying, she's not good. And it was amazing, no? Because I free up myself from something. So using something that people could perceive like a weakness or a fragility or whatever, I create something that was much more powerful and much more stronger, putting myself in the area where I was really dreaming to be, on the cultural side. So, same job for many years. In reality, in the meantime, I became the head of marketing and BD. Quite a bit the same story, but here I want to share something different. So they call me and they say, "You are doing a super good job on this cultural side at this point. So why don't you run also these business function teams, 200 people around the world?" And my answer has been yes, but you have to give me someone for the numbers, of course. So they told me, "Go around and pick up someone that you want in the firm." So I went around, I checked, and I decided to go for this super, super young English guy that at that time was based in Singapore. So I came back, I say to London, "I want this guy." They look at me, say, "No way, too young." I say, "No way for me to run the job if I don't have my team." This guy was super motivated, was super clever, was just young. This guy today is the CFO worldwide of Linklaters, because 4 years later, he moved from being the CEO of a small business function to be the global CFO, because it was the right choice. So again, knowing the talents and having in your team the best people. This is a little lesson, making sure that where do you don't have a talent, where you miss some talents, it's normal. We cannot have all the talents. The important thing is that making sure that you will find in your team the best people to cover the piece that you miss. So this is lawyer side. In the meantime, it happened maybe 2 milestones, very relevant. When I start, I fail 3-4 times, quite a lot, the bar exams. I learn a lot from my failures. It's been quite a big drama. Last milestones in this Linklated's career, currently I'm a senior advisor, but I've been asked to run as a senior partner. The senior partner is the person that is running the show worldwide. We were 3. I was again the only one out of London, the only not English. I was running my second language. I lost. And of course here, I want to give you these 2 milestones at my career, the starting and in quite way, something very close, because I want to make sure that you perfectly understand that if you look at the number of titles that I bring today on this stage, you will think she's super successful. No, I'm normal. Guys, I'm normal. I made something good, I make something bad. I'm not moving from A to B in a linear way. I've done in this way in my full career. I've done things where I succeed. I've done things where I fail. Where I've been very good and where I want to leave you a message is that you have to run. What is important is that to be brave enough to run and to remember that we are like this, we have to be more sportive, we have to be more like the scientist. It's not obvious to win. The scientists, they are paid to make a try. You should make a try like them. And sometimes you succeed, sometimes not. If you learn to be like the sportive, you know that winning is not the rule. It's just happening very rarely. So my point is making sure that you will be innovator. You will be the ones that they will run. They will choose to stand out and do things in a different way. Don't be scared to do something wrong. Don't be scared to make a try and not to get the medals. Making a try is really very important. We should have very different resume CV in which people will share whenever they've been brave, whenever they run for something, independently that they didn't get them, because it's very, very important. So this is the business side. Coming back 1 second to my social impact life, I've done many things. I run association for women. I create a foundation. I've done things for the youngest, so what we call seconda media, so very young kids, to tell them that there are women that they can do everything, because it's not obvious for many. Then moving to the youngest, to the women, I moved and I arrived to today where I do things for LGBT, where I do things for refugee, quite a lot with the United Nations, where I have a passion in creating corridors for them to give them the chance to study. Why I tell you this? Because I want to make sure that you will remember forever that what will give you a bigger chance in life is to bring all your passion together. Is just to be one unique person. You are unique already, but make sure that you will not split what you do at the job. You are not your job. You are a person. And then you do one piece of job, you do another piece of job. You have a passion. You care about the refugee, like in my case. You care about something else. You are passionate of sailing, or you are passionate of learning foreign culture. Whatever you are passionate of, don't keep this part aside. Bring this part in your business. Bring this part in the office. Make sure that the others know what you do. Because I think that what is sometimes scary is that you look around and you see so many people that they are like you. Because you have done the perfect school, you perfectly speak English, you have done the right choices, you finish with the right grades at the right time. And how you get that job, how you are making sure that they will notice exactly you. They will notice you because if you've been able to bring your unicity, you will be just one. Sometimes it will be not the right one. The time that is there looking for you, you will be just perfect. Just perfect. And this is something that I think that has been extremely difficult and important for me. For many years, doing many different things was quite naive. As I say, I was freeing up time for taking care of the others. That was not necessary, very obvious, very strategic business-wise. Today, I have many different jobs, and I think that the majority of my jobs, they are coming from my reputation, for what I've done in the life, for the kind of person I've always been. And this has been because I was bringing all these parts together. So not leaving anything aside, bringing everything with me. That is extremely important. Then there is the fancy part. So I decided to start to write books. I wrote 3 books, and with just the idea that I'm doing something that it's a bit Italian espresso, but it's called caffè sospeso. So if there is someone from Naples here, should know what it is. But caffè sospeso is when you enter in a bar. In Naples is a very easy tradition. You enter in a bar, you pay your coffee, and you leave another coffee paid for another person that will come after you. So my books, they are caffè sospeso in my mind because I've done things that have been quite difficult for me. I've been almost in all the roles for the first time, the first woman. Then I've been the first South European. Then I've been the youngest. Then I've been the one that was doing that job in a very different way. That you have to prove that will be fine, that will be the way to do things, and that it works as well. No? So I've been extremely alternative, and has been very difficult to arrive to a point in which currently I'm 53. You arrive and you can give back. And my idea to give back is paying my coffee for the others. So whatever has been very expensive for me in terms of coffee, it's really priceless if it means that I left something pay for the others. So here I am. I think that I could tell you a huge amount of things about me, not necessarily all interested. I was making sure to leave you 3 or 4 things that they are very dear to my heart, like the idea to innovate, to be brave, to don't be scared of fail. You are in a place that is amazing, that is helping you to think big. It's a place that is helping you to succeed. So make sure that you will use your time at the best, that you will be curious, that you will be creative. And make sure that you will be also generous, you will be kind. Kindness has to be something that you should at school, because it's really something to study at school. It's really a way to spend your future life and your full life, because kindness is going to be one of the things that people will judge you, because there is a pleasure to work with someone that is kind, that is completely missed when people are not necessarily kind. So I would really like to touch things about how is the leadership of the future, because it's something that is really passionate in me, thinking that you will be the future leader, and about the people that I'm sure that you want to work with, or people that I'm quite sure that you don't want to work with. But I would really like to leave the space to the amazing ladies to start and to kick off a bit of Q&A, and to leave you the possibility to pose all the questions that you want. Here there are some words, just words that I love among the others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And are you ready for the Q&A?
No, I'm super scared.
You should.
I am.
Okay, so we can start. So looking back at your career path, what were the most significant moments that change and define your success?
Let's start from what it means success, no? Because I think that was a good question that came out also for lunch. For me, succeeding has quite a special meaning, because for me has been not necessary to get a job, to get the big title, being chairwoman of Allianz or the stock exchange or whatever, but has been to be in this role and being myself. That is coming back to what I was saying before, so bringing all my passion together, bringing all my different lines here, or the pillars of a life all together. And I think that is my idea of succeeding. Is not getting the medals or having the big title on your business card. Is making sure that you do a job in your own style. You are not going to be like your predecessors, not because they were not good, but because they were different. And you find a way to impact, positively impact in a strong way using your talents. So I think that so this has been the best and the biggest success for me. No? Also today, being here with you with my different ways, or spending the lunch with you, I think that is part of my success, because I found the time, I found and it's amazing for me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think also that we are at a stage in our life in which we are still seeking our path. So maybe listen from you how and when you find out yours could be really inspiring for us. So between all the experiences that you have shared with us, if you had to pick just one, which one would be the most important one that made you realize what you wanted to do in your career?
I would say that the most important one that maybe is answering to both questions, also made me realize that what I want to do was failing the bar exam. So I've been a perfect student. I've done the university very easily. I got the top grades in the right times and stuff. And I was thinking that life was easy. I was studying and passing the exam. I was studying and doing that. So I started to work. I was working in a top law firms with many professors. I was following the most important cases in the country. So everything was on papers quite perfect. I fail. I've done the exam and I fail. And I have redone the exam and I fail. And I have to say that I can tell you many different things about how difficult was at that time to pass the exam, how was, it doesn't matter. I think that what is remaining in me is not the excuses that you can find, but the feeling of my legs going up for the stairs of the Milan court, waiting to see among thousands of names, your names and the number. They was not fitting the 90. 90 was the minimum, 30, 30, and 30 at that time. And was, I don't know, 87, 88, I don't need to remember, but was so bad. And it was a very difficult time, especially having redone it more times, because I think that you have to be very strong. No? I was looking at the others around me, and of course you have your judgment about people. I never focus too much on the others. I'm always focused on myself, in the sense that I never compete with the others. I do the things in my style. I have my goals, if you want to call it in this way, in life, no? That is not comparing or winning against someone else, but you see the others, they pass the exam, they progress, they can do things that you cannot do. And at that time, I was feeling, I have to say, quite bad. Bad enough to think that maybe being a lawyer was not at the end of the day my dream, no? Because you start to feel bad, you lose in terms of confidence, you feel fragile, you can feel also quite sick, and you start to think, maybe I do something different. And so means giving up. So I think that my way was to understand that was not giving up the right way to approach my failures, but was to repass or read on the text, arriving to a point in which I was passing it. And I really like to go in the room of the youngest. No, they look at me and they think that today you're a big lawyer, and telling them that I failed many times, because I think that when you go, it's in front of you this milestone, no, of the bar exam that for lawyers is one big thing, and they think that the others, they never had trouble. No? So I always share this part, and made me feel, made me two things, I think: stronger on one side, resilient, and on the other side, much more human.
Thank you again. But I have another curiosity. So what is the connection between all the fields you work in? Because they are very, very different. So where do you find like the connection and the value that connects all?
That's a very good question, and I'm not sure that I have a super clever answer. I can tell you that I'm very curious. I really like people, they are very curious as well, and I'm quite surrounded by people that they have this curiosity in their backpack, no? And whenever they look at something that they can bring quite easily, curiosity is always there. So I'm curious, and I have something that it's always pushing me to be out of the comfort zone. That is linked to my curiosity and my desire to learn new things on one side, and the other side is also linked to the big respect that I have of the people that they work with me. As I said to you before, I like to have top people working with me, in the sense that I choose people that they are much better than me. So whenever they are there in their position, I always try to free up space for them, to leave them the scene, to leave them one piece of work, to leave them the practice or this. And this is pushing me to try something different. Plus, I have an idea that could sound arrogant, but is not in this sense, is that whenever you put passion, you are smart, you will be human enough to listen and to learn, you can do many different jobs. And of course, more than ever is really the time of contamination. So you learn something in one field, you bring into the another one, you contaminate the third, you move to the fourth. No? So I think that there has been a value chain in doing different jobs. Little things. I was speaking about my passion for social impact. And for many people, of course, the two things, my business activity and my passion for social impact, they always run on two parallel lines, never cross. It's absolutely wrong. 2019, December, I've been in the refugee camp in Jordania. I've been there with the United Nations to study their mission, to study how refugee camp they work. So I visited the refugee, I visited the camp, I was there for a project on students, but in reality, I was also there to understand the mechanism, how you create a camp, how it works, so the structure. And February 2020, when the COVID time exploded, I was running the Alliance board, I was running the region, the marketing function I was telling you, and I think that what I was bringing for the experience of a few months before in the refugee camp has been super helpful. Refugee camps, they work on scarcity, so and emergency. Finding myself running things in a time of COVID where people, they were just panicking, I was coming from an experience that was teaching me how you have to be cool and focused and extremely strategic when you have a scarcity of raw materials, and on the other side you have an emergency that is pushing. Emergency means you don't know what will happen in 3 hours, in 5 hours, in a day. So I think that again everything is apparently disconnected, but if you stay open-minded, if you listen, if you, like you guys that you are listening, I have the opportunity to listen to many people, one day you can connect many dots. And these dots, they are creating the perfect image for your future.
Thank you. And related to this, we had the opportunity to do research about our generation, and it emerged that the 67% of our generation work approach are strongly influenced by stress and burnout events. So considering all your experiences and responsibilities, how did you manage stress situations, and have you some strategies that you adopt?
That is a very important topic. First of all, what I'm trying to do, for example, on this campaign, if I can call it this way, that I'm doing on failure, on not feeling pressed by the errors and stuff, is to take out a bit of this big pressure that the young generation, the youngest generation have to succeed in a way that has to be perfect, that is be, crystal clear, linear. On the other side, of course, we live in a very complex situation in the world, macroeconomical, geopolitical, everything is too difficult. So I have a few tips here, and I have to say that everyone has to find the tips. The first thing is that remember that you are human. So I have moments in which things they are becoming too difficult or too tense, or the list of problems is too long. And one of the things that for me is much more important than everything is stay out. So go out in the nature, walk, ideally barefoot. I'm a bit wild. But it's my way to remain connected with something that is basic and simple. If I cannot go out and work or getting this time, one of the things that I do is taking my time with the silence, no? So creating some space. I do also mad things like put the music super bombing and dancing. Whatever is helping me in a very easy way to react. What I always try to remember, and I want to make sure that I will leave this stage telling you that is just a job. Whatever we do is just a job. And of course, if one day you will be doctors, you will save lives, will be, of course, a bigger sense of responsibility than maybe being a lawyer. It's just a job. It means that if you do the things properly, you do the things in good faith, you do the things, you could be wrong. You can make errors, no? Or if they are pushing you, also be sincere. And ask for help, because I think that what I found I always ask for help. I'm very good in asking for help. Maybe also because I wanted to do other things. I asked the others to take care of something, because as I was telling you before with a little anecdote about my inability with numbers, I really like to push back the things that I'm not good at. And so I ask a lot for help. And asking for help is an exercise. You have to do many times to be sure to get ready to raise your hand in the moment in which you need it. And so remember that you are not alone, that is just a job, that there are things that you have to understand, which is you can be silent, you can walk barefoot in the green, I have a friend that is going to church. She's just going to the church, and then I ask her, are you a streaming Catholic or religious? She said, no, but it's silent, it is peaceful. So people are, whatever is the place that you find that is giving you peace, is important that you make sure that you have it in your back of your mind. And remember that you don't ever have to arrive to any extreme, no? You raise your hand and ask for help.
And there is a moment that was particularly challenging for you that you remember, and how did you overcome it?
1,000. I was telling you that I have also 3 girls. So there been a moment in which I was working on big deals, having 3 girls, little girls at home. I was having the pressure that people, they look at you because, of course, if you're a mom, you are not completely committed. You cannot be here, you cannot be there. So wherever I was in the wrong place, no, because I was never in the right one. So the pressure and the challenge that has been, I think, too many. But the only things that they are really for me relevant is if I think that I hurt someone, no? Because I make an error, I'm ready to take my responsibility. If I think that because I was in a rush, because I was under pressure, because I've been unfair, for example, with someone or unpleasant, this is much more harder for me than the other consequences. I think it's challenge too many, guys. It's going to be a life of challenge. It cannot be different.
And on the other hand, there is one of your proudest achievements in your career?
To be here today. It sounds good enough. No, I think that my achievement has been, if I have to tell you, the last two of this year. So first of all, this year I got the nautical license, Patente Nautica, for motor and sailing. That was not obvious because in my life I have I'm divorced and I have a partner since many years that he's French and passionate about sailing. No? And as you can imagine, I don't exactly adore to be in the situation in which I'm just getting orders without understanding, because I have a certain attitude, at least to understand. I'm not saying to give orders, but at least to understand. So after years of sailing without understanding, I decided to do two things to make sure that I was able to stay on the boat. One was learning French, because all the instructions they were, and the second one was getting the license. The license, I was really having no memory how much is difficult to study. So well done to all of you, because I had to study, really study, and really was very intense. And every Sunday morning for a few months, I was waking up Sunday, 6 in the morning, was January, February, and March, so not the best time. I was putting all my stuff, my cerate, to go, and I was taking the train at 7 in Milano, going to Genoa, and 8:39 in the water, doing the double course morning and afternoon, because it was the only day that I was able to free up, no? And but it's just to tell you that make sure that you follow other passion. Make sure that also when you will be 50, you will not just think that you have stopped to learn, no? Today I can have a dinner in French, yes, and I was frankly, what I didn't tell you is that I arrive at my university degree with zero ability to speak any English. My English was zero. I was coming from the countryside, as I told you, and I've done Liceo Classico, so the classic high school, and then the university. At the time, there was zero language exams, so I managed to run business in English, to learn everything, and arriving to my 50 and thinking to learn another language was quite a challenge, no? And then I thought, oh, why not? I can do it. So remember not to stop, because everything will give you a fresh and new energy. I have to say that I started also to have a course of wing with the Windsor. I badly failed. I was destroying myself.
So, since we were talking about your passions, I would like to remind that you are founder of Breakfast at Linklaters, former president of Valore D, and you have also been named Heroes Women Role Model list for 7 consecutive years. So I think my question for you is, what advice would you give to young women, and also how do you see the role of young women evolving in the business context in the future?
Okay, first of all, I want to say, as I start, remember, guys, women and men, that boys and girls, you are the future. So this is the milestone for you and to be here. The youngest women, I want to say that make sure that the stereotypes, the bias, they will not be too many around you. And if you look at things very carefully, and if you feel that there are still in you, because it's coming from the culture, because it's coming from the education, it's coming from the social pressure, wherever it's coming from, but maybe you feel that you are much more anxious, or you are less ambitious or stuff, or you feel that being too ambitious is too aggressive for a girl, because there are also many judgments about it. Make sure that you will have a best friend that is a super clever guy, boy, man. And make sure that whatever you have doubts, go and ask to this guy. So you get an offer for a job. They ask you how much do you want to get. Don't give a number. Don't give hamburgers. Go to the most ambitious of your friends and ask him, what do you want to ask? How much you will ask in my position? Get the number. I've done this exercise many times, and usually the answer has been from the girls, he was asking too much. No, he is perfect. Go with this number and use it. So make sure that you will help each other more than what my generation has done. Because I think that you can create a world where things they will be much more natural, no? Things they will really pass certain limits that currently the society has due exactly to the stereotypes, the bias and stuff. It's really up to you. And if you understand how you can fix 2 or 3 little things, that they will always create a gap between boys and girls because they are coming from too long time, I think that you have done it. So be ambitious, be brave, and make sure that you have the most ambitious friend. And it's over.
Thank you. And you are a mom of 3 girls, right? And how did you manage your role as a mom and your all responsibilities in your work?
Well, I would say that, like everyone, first of all, I managed to be still not insane. That is a good point to reach out, because there are moments in which I remember that there was, I think with the second or the third, I was having my little Vespa, the motorbike, and I was sleeping almost 0 with the girls, the job and stuff. So I was arriving to the traffic light, and people were telling me, the helmet, you don't have the helmet. And I was neither understand, because I was always taking this usually every day without the helmet and stuff. So I was a bit tired. But I think that what I've done here, personal life, is what I've done, I think, more on business side. It was using my style. I was breaking some paradigm, no? So if the society is expecting you that you are the best mom because every day you go to school to pick up the kids, you have to teach your kids that is not necessary. The love is not linked to the fact that you go to school. No? So I've done many different times. I've done little tricks to my girls, like when they were complaining, as the mom of this girl would say that you never come to pick up at school. It's maybe I would say, darling, first of all, we don't see this girl and his mom, never again, whatever. Second thing, so what we are going to do for sure is make sure that I will come to the part with you. So I will come to pick you up at school, I will come to you. So I will stay with you the time that we eat the cake, the time that you play in the little balls, the time and stuff. And the day after, we stay always together, you come with me, you stay in the office, and while I'm having meetings, you don't move, you don't speak, you just color, you cannot go to the toilet. And then my girls, they were clever, they were coming and say, don't worry, we stay with the nanny, mommy, go to work. So I think that it is just a matter to teach and to educate, and I let my girls to educate the things that they were extremely important for them. They became extremely important for me as well. But I was telling them, I cannot do all 10 of them. I can do 3. Because the others, I think that I can have a video made by the nanny. I can pick up the 3 that you want me to be there, and I free up my agenda. The others I have to work. So it's really a matter of making sure that the others at the job, at home, they understand that you are doing your best and you are just one and you cannot get mad.
Thank you. Your recent book, La rivoluzione degli outsider, focuses on the importance of including new generation and changes in leadership model. So from our perspective as students and young people, which skill do you think that are essential to develop in order to succeed in our future?
Voila, I would say that let's assume that you will be all different. We decide before that you will be unique with whatever you have, and you will have different talents. So I would not say that some talents, they are better than others. I would say that you have to be very, very good in assessing which talents you have, which talents you miss, and how you create your team to make sure that you will cover all the needs. So I think that there are things that you cannot mix, like the knowledge, so being able to dominate whatever you're going to do, because this means having respect. So I've been always alternative in my life. I can be naive and stuff, but I always having the respect of my colleagues, the respect of my clients, because of course this is the basic to get you in a position that is a powerful one. Then make sure to break some rules. You want to be innovator, you want to live a better world, break some rules. But decide which rules are important. You cannot just go around and breaking rules. You have to have priorities. So I always had 1, 2, 3 priorities in my passion for changing culture. They were driving me. I was giving up to all the others. So I was in the first years that I was working with these super traditional law firms with all professors. One of the rules was being dressed either with the pants or the skirt super long, having the socks, you cannot have the sandals, and then was working all the Saturday, also if the Saturday was not needed, but the style of the house was being there. The Saturday eventually you could clean the library, but you stirred. Then, among all this scenario that was not perfectly fitting with me, there was also the point to make sure that you are keeping a certain formal distance with your PAs, because the PAs, they are not like lawyers. For me, this one was wrong. This one was the worst one. So while putting the socks with the sandal was driving me mad, I was doing it. It was a compromise that was not really jeopardize any of my values or treating the PAs and keeping them far away just because they were PAs. By the way, my PAs, they were also being graduated in language school. They were much better than me in many other things. It was driving me mad. So I was breaking these rules. I was getting every 2 days big complaint from the senior lawyers about my style, my way to be too friendly with the PA's pool and this or that. But I left this firm 2 years later, and I was not the only one. There was 10, 15 people like me that they were getting along better with the pool of the staff, how they were calling. And I think that was very important for me, because I think that whatever job you do, from the first to the top, all the people, they count in the same way, because the result could be just linked to same style, same, and I think that was a big battle. So be sure that you will break some rules. Make sure to be brave. The future is for people that they are going to be brave, because I think be open-minded, creative, be good in listening, and then be, again, as we were saying before, being generous, being kind. Make sure that you are considered a giver. I think that here there is one of big distinction. If you look at the back, the majority of leaders, they could fall in the category of takers. I think that the future, and you have to think about the people that you want to work in the future, but I'm pretty sure that the answer of the majority will go for the giver, for people that they split their success, for people that they create a team, for people that they want, let's say, to give back, and they are not there obsessed by the success, their money, their space. People, they are also generous in time, that they are sharing what they know. And so I think that being a giver is going to be extremely important for the future. Then there are a huge amount of things. One that I want to raise that is not for you, but could be helpful for you, is that one of my other battle for leaders is also to understand that you could be the best one for a job for today. Same job in 2 years' time, you could not be the right one. So also understanding that we cannot be the same perfect person for a situation. So my battle is for people, especially today, to assess every now and then their ability to be the best person in charge. And sometimes just to stand and say that this is my chair. I think that someone better should take it.
Thank you.
I would like to know something that it's pretty connected with this, but it's from another perspective. What do you think are the values that younger generations are bringing into the workplace?
are the most important ones, I would say. I would say that the youngest generation, they are educating the industry side. I think the youngest generation, they are already breaking the major big rules. So you are not just there to say thank you to get a job, any kind of job they will offer you. It happened to my generation, it happened quite a lot. I was, as I say, a bit alternative, but I've done much more sacrifice than maybe the right size. So I think that for you, absolutely is something has been already done. No? You are perceived as a generation in block like someone that is judging, that is assessing. And I think that is already the most important things. Make sure that you always have a voice. Anyone, whoever is outside, has to look for talents, has to look for you. So make sure that you will be the best talents and make sure to pick up and to go in the place where they deserve to have you. So I think that on this stuff you have already changed the world.
Thank you. Our last question, and about your future. You have other goals that you want to achieve specifically, personally and professionally?
I was saying that I want to work here, no? I want to work here. I applied to work here. I was telling this morning to Riccardo, do you want me to work here? Because I have to find my job. Maybe I can have a casettina, no? A little house in the start. I have also a startup, guys. By the way, I'm a startupper, and more than one. And so I think that maybe, yes, I think that one of my mantra has been always have fun. But in the future, I want to have much more fun than in the past.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think now it's time also to ask them. And I want to give you the honor to throw the microphone.
It seems that I have to kill someone, no?
Questions? Go for the question.
Someone has questions?
Don't be shy.
You have the box.
In the back.
Lui ne ha una. Anche lì.
Qua.
Va davanti. Ottimo.
One is coming, running, la 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 la, ta-da-da. I think that you should look to assess, the question is how you assess your own talent. I think that it's, look at the people that you like. Look, listen to the podcast, read whatever is making you comfortable, that you have quite a pool of different people, not necessarily just the perfect one for you. Different style, different gender, different generation, geographies, whatever. And try to look which talents these people they have. List them down. And then try to see where you have something that is reasoning to you that you have. Because I think that it's very difficult to start from scratch. It's much easier to compare yourself to someone else. And then there is a little important thing that is always, do you want to stretch your talents, so you are good in something enough that you want to enlarge it, or you want to deepen your talents, no? I think that more and more I decide to deepen my talents and to give up on the other things and making sure the others they were doing. I've seen many people doing something different, try to cover a bigger spectrum of talents, learning new things, doing new things, and so stretching at them a bit more. This is very important as well. But looking at the others, getting inspired, just take notes. Just buy a little book, you keep it in a notebook, and you just list the things that you are getting inspired. Or it happened to me that for a long time I was also observing the things that I don't want to do in this way. I don't want to be like this person. And so I was listening them as well in the same way in which I was listing the positive, and the list of the negative was quite long. And I was saying, Claudia, make sure that you will not fall in these, let's say, categories of people, no? Difficult, arrogant, unpleasant, unpolite, whatever was, no? And then I think that is, again, is helping you to mirror the positive one that you want to have.
Someone has other questions? Aspetta che ti passo il microfono. Sì, perché non...
So, I want to start by saying that I love how genuine you are, how also humble you are, and I didn't expect a person from your business point to be this humble. And also, I love when you mentioned about trying to be always generous and yes, not being naive, but sometimes I think about if I'm being too generous, too humble, how can I expect to be respected? Sometimes I see maybe myself to not be in a strong position, and maybe trying to be generous is something that can
You're right.
slow me down.
I see completely your point, and think that if it's difficult for you, it's much more difficult for me that I'm a woman. Because, of course, people are thinking, she's so nice, she's cute, no? She's cute. And, of course, they are thinking that you are not driven, or you are not motivated, or you are not. I think that it takes a bit more time, but you have to keep your point. So I make you an example with the network. That is a point that we didn't touch base today, but I think that is quite important for you. I think that I have super big network that I learned in the years, in the sense that I was not starting my life or my journey thinking that I will create a super large network. No. I start, and before you were mentioning Breakfast at Linklaters that we didn't comment, but now is a network of 2,000, 3,000 women was starting for the fact that I've done, and I'm coming to the point, I've done different things. So network was for me, when I use expression, I use like an orange tree, no? So whoever was asking me something, I was trying to give an answer, give attention. Whoever write to me, also if it's on LinkedIn, I try to answer. Whoever was asking me 10 minutes of my time, I always try to give. This means also generous, not necessary. Or I was at the point in which there's been the quota law in the country, and being one of the women that has been always in the board, I set up with a big headhunter, with my hat at the time as a chairwoman of Valore D, a school that is still run by Cola in the boardroom, in which I was teaching personally. I teach personally to 300 women how to sit in the boards and how to do it. No? So I was generous in also these things. That means times, means contents. I pass a lot of my know-how, a lot of my contents to the others. And I always try to have a nice way. On the other side, whoever knows me knows that I'm not giving up. So it's 20 years that I'm fighting for women. I started to fight for the youngest. I'm not giving up for the refugee. So I think that is the way in which we always we are used to see the big leaders that is creating this little anxiety, in being different. But if you look at the effect of a strong leader that is human, generous, kind, and in the meantime is strategic, is brave, and of course is extremely competent, you see that is much more effective than someone that is not sharing. So my point is like a journey. You have to decide on which side you want to stay, and you just keep going. And the people that they are judging you because thinking, it's too kind, these guys, no? It's not maybe able to drive a team. You can show them that you will get much more from your team than the others. So maybe someone will not give an opportunity, then they will notice how you are managing people, how people, they want to work with you, how your team loves you, how people, they prefer to stay 1 hour or more in the evening because they want to make sure that as a team you succeed, and they will discover that you are a new style of leader. And you will win.
Other questions? No? See? No one? No? No?
Voilà.
Ok. A posto.
Ça fait. C'est terminé.
Again, Claudia.
Many thanks of the ladies that they were a bit scared at lunchtime, but now they were being amazing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you. And thank you to all of you, and have a good life. And remember, have fun.
Guys, please fill out the form and scan the QR code before going home. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bravissime le ragazze.